Good morning, good morning. I am jolly late today, aren't I? The truth is I overslept because, well, for some reasons and some bad reasons, some good reasons and bad reasons. The bad reason was that at some point during the evening, and remember we're 2 hours ahead of the UK here, I saw that there was a vote of no confidence in Theresa May, and felt obligated to, I'm just getting my earphones out, the dogs out to their usual antics, and it would appear that Chris has been doing even more online shopping without his mother's consent. Let me put these in my ears so that you do not have to listen to my big vicious dogs. My big vicious dogs, actually you can see one come in here now behind me. Can we see him? That is Snowy. Snowy, don't you dare go in there. Snowy! You see, one word from me and no one listens. That's big vicious dog Snowy, who actually had to be, I hope the sound is better now. He had to be comforted this morning because he was standing next to a creeper in the garden and the wind blew and it made him very scared. So we had to comfort the poor big vicious dog. Anyway, at some point last night, I saw that there was this vote of no confidence in Theresa May. And then, you know, when you just get sucked into something. But the truth is like, I'm so pissed off about the whole Brexit thing anyway, because I didn't get a say, actually, is my reason for being upset about it, not the actual outcome. That will really, really piss me off to have to, like, I don't know, go through borders and stuff. Anywho, I got like listening into this thing, you know, and eventually I fell asleep before there was an outcome. I assumed she won. It sounded like everyone thought she would, but that kept me up very late. And also I spent most of yesterday, I did not do any writing yesterday because I was busy being a tech genius. So for those of you who haven't known me for a long time, I started, my first career was in IT. I just missed the SAP bubble where the people were making outrageous sums of money. And also I wasn't really brave enough to like take one of those China, get $1 million for signing up and go live in China for a project. Looking back on the anxiety, it's probably a good thing. But anyway, but I do actually really enjoy tech. So I enjoy doing things like sorting out my website myself and things. And there's really like two things that kind of were like I was sad about yesterday. So Shannon's off in England being very important with other very important people from Unilever. But he's a tech person, right? So, I mean, Shannon is so techy that, I mean, he also worked in the SAP world. That is how we met. But he can still tell you, like, the actual movement code in SAP for, like, anything, you know, is you're like, what's a 101? He's like, oh, it's a goods receipt. What's a 307? And he can tell you, you know, that's an internal transfer between a plant-to-plant transfer or whatever. He still knows all that stuff. I mean, I still know a little bit of it, but not, not anything like him. He can remember flipping everything. I am just putting on the do not disturb so it doesn't send me flashes of my weird Adobe that can't update. I do not know why. So anyway, I was feeling like a tech idiot first. So what happened yesterday was I was transferring the database of one of my other accounts. So I have my coaching business lived under the world of castlecoaching.co.za, and I was moving the database across from one service provider to another service provider, but it was actually an internal, it's very admin. Anyway, I had to move these databases across from one site to another site yesterday. So, you know, I'm feeling all brilliant with myself because I'm like messing around in SQL. And I mean, when I say I'm messing in SQL, I like click on the export button. But anyway, but it didn't work. And then eventually, like, I felt like an absolute idiot because I phoned the tech support and they're like, no, we'll have a look. And they're like, yeah, you know, and I'm like, but my site is down. Like, I've done everything, but the site's down. And they're like, yeah, you should just probably clear your cache on that account and then it'll redirect. So I felt like an idiot at first, but then I became a tech genius again because I figured out how to use one of the Facebook APIs, which again, only techie people care about, but it's a way that you can pass information or get Facebook to do stuff for you. So like there are APIs, like, you know, when you can use Facebook to log on to an app or something, that's an API that's working in the background. So now if you go onto my website, which is pennycastlewriter.com, you will be able to see it's that you can see a live how many Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube subscribers I have. I am feeling like PewDiePie this morning because I have, 10 subscribers on YouTube. So again, if you want to make me feel really happy, go onto YouTube. I'll put the channel in the notes underneath. But if you want to make me feel really, really happy, subscribe, and then also click on the bell, because sometimes Facebook won't show you this live if you're not around. I see like no one's actually live at the moment. But it will actually send you a little message like, oh, Penny has recorded a new YouTube video, and then you can get like all excited about it and, you know, say to your spouse, no, not now, I'm watching Penny talk about idiot stuff. You will also see that my hair has been done. I've left it how he styled it yesterday. He likes to make it go kind of up, which I'm not sure about. I sort of like it, but it also sort of has a Cruella de Vil feel to it. The weird thing is that you'll be able to see is like the purple is still there. We think it could be a side effect of some of the medications that my hair is now picking up color. So come January, I tell them to actually just order some purple dye, and it's just, you know, go whole hog. And what else do I tell you about? Oh, and then I also did another techie thing because I do love, so there's two things that I love in the world, right? I love little techie stuff, and I also love taking courses. I've mentioned that before. So I signed up for a Facebook ads course, which I'm quite excited about because I've used Facebook ads a few times now, and essentially the impact has been about the same as if I just dug a hole in the garden and then thrown my money in. So I would really like to be able to use Facebook ads, but like not waste all my money, you know. But let is, yeah, so anyway, if anyone knows who won in the voter contest, I assume it was Theresa May, you can save me a job of logging into the BBC and wasting even more time today, which I could be spending Facebook ads course. The reason why I'm also doing all these things at the moment is because in my new book, I've planned, you know, the next sort of 10 scenes, and I realized like I'm going to have a sex scene, which is filling me with anxiety, actually. Mainly because, you know, I have these wonderful loyal parents who read everything that I write. Thank you, Mom. Thanks, Dad. And the thought of writing a sex scene and then having them read it, like, it just fills me with horror. You know, I subscribe to those of you who've ever watched the show Miranda, and she talks about things. I am of that school. So my friend Tracy Fox, who is an absolutely wonderful writer in her own right, who writes in more a kind of women's fiction, romance. Oh, she writes all sorts of really interesting stuff. She writes these wonderful books that are set between like the real world and then an online program, Second Life, which is, I believe, actually a real thing, but it's where you can go and have another life online. And she writes these amazing books that are set in that. And she has very kindly offered to help me, like, you know, block out what the sex scene must have in it, so that then I can just go and put it in my voice afterwards. So like, she is like God in my eyes. I will put a link to her Amazon books in the links, and you can go and have a look. I think she's fantastic. And actually I think she's fantastic, and it's not even a genre I would normally read, but I really love reading her books. Anyway, all that aside, the thing that makes me really anxious. So I've been thinking about what are the things that really make me anxious. And it's kind of odd, but it's having my blood pressure checked. So it's not actually what my blood pressure is, it's having my blood pressure checked. So I have had what actually happened years and years ago now. About, literally like 10 years ago, I had to a doctor I didn't know. We'd recently moved to Joburg, and I went to a doctor because I had like this ear infection, but like that wasn't, it actually felt like I had a moth stuck in my ear. And he, for reasons best known only to himself, decided that instead of just checking my ear, he would like do a whole medical. And then he was like, oh my God, your blood pressure is so high, you're about to have a stroke right now, and put me on blood pressure tablets like straight away. Okay. So I'm taking blood pressure tablets, and now I'm a bit freaked out about that. And at the time I was working with a biokineticist, and she was like, you're eating right and you are carrying a bit of weight, but you're exercising, you're pretty fit, I am quite surprised. Sorry about that. I'm quite surprised that your blood pressure would be so high. But anyway, we carried on with the program. And then what actually happened was, I think I went on holiday and I had missed a script or something. But for a few days or a week or so, I did not take the blood pressure tablets. But the bio had blood pressure kit. And she took my blood pressure. She was like, but your blood pressure is dead normal. And I was like, okay, well then let's do this every day for like a week and see, because if, that is not a once off. I've since learned that actually if you have your one low blood pressure reading, you don't have high blood pressure. But I did not know that at the time. So anyway, she did it and my blood pressure was really normal. So we didn't think about that. But obviously when Joshua was sick and dying and things, my blood pressure, my GP comes from a casualty background. So if you go in to see her, like she has a triage nurse who won't let you even see my GP until she's done your blood pressure and your heart rate and your blood oxygen levels and all sorts of things. And my blood pressure was going up and up and up whilst Joshua was sick. We did the usual thing of like, let's do it for several days and then check and then see what happens. But it stayed high. And so I now take the medication and it's no biggie. And when I've lost a bit, or some of the weight that I put on when Joshie was ill and I'm a bit fitter, we will check it again, But it's not actually having the high blood pressure. I don't know what it is. It's like having it checked that I found so stressful. I mean, part of it is because I do have like a bingo wings. Like, look at it. It's like the gizzard. I have the bingo wings. Chris says when I say goodbye to people, I end up slapping myself in the face, which is very kind. So they always have to put the big cuff on, which I found humiliating, But it's just, I find, and the weird thing is, because then I get all these weird readings, right? Because I'm so stressed about it, that it's always like high. And apparently there's like high blood pressure and then there's like stress, high blood pressure. I don't know, but the two readings mean two different things. So, I mean, I do actually have high blood pressure. Well, I don't know. I mean, that's another thing is like, I don't have high blood pressure because I take the blood pressure tablets. So anyway, but I have to go once a month and go and have it checked, So I found out that my pharmacist, who I've known since we moved into the area, so I've known her for like 12 years now, 13 years now, she does it. But I have to like sneak in on days because sometimes she's the pharmacist and then sometimes like there's another pharmacist who's like I don't know him. So I have to sneak in there on days when it's Bernie's day, and then she will do my blood pressure for me. But she like lets me sit and chat for like half an hour first. So I've forgotten that I'm there for my blood pressure, Also, what freaked me out the other day was that they have a sign up there talking about all the vaccinations that children should have. And I realized I did not know. Did you know that at like 9 or something, your kids are due for another set of vaccinations? I did not know that, and I did not do it for Chris. So I'm going to have to lure him into the pharmacy when he gets back from Port Elizabeth. Like I said last time when it was for the flu vaccine, I was like, come in, Bernie wants to see you. And then he came in and she was like, aha, and like him when the flu is shot. So I'm going to have to get him to go in and go and have this last set of vaccinations. I don't even know what they're for. But then that also reminded me of another thing that's really stressful, and I really have to sort out. I will sort out. I will sort it out by the end of January. Is that actually, you know, that TB shot you're supposed to have when you're like 14? Well, we had them at school. The doctor came around and gave them, except I went sailing that day. You know, if there's a choice between going sailing or having a TB shot, which would you choose, right? So anyway, I went sailing instead. But actually, it has occurred to me in the last while that I live in a country where TB is like pretty epidemic proportions. In South Africa, you know, we had a government that were AIDS denialists for nearly a decade, and actually TB in South Africa is pretty much code for AIDS. So I'm not saying that I've got HIV. Well, I didn't when I last checked, but I certainly don't want to get TB because there are obviously a lot of people with suppressed immune systems in South Africa. So TB is like lots of people have TB. So here is my commitment. Despite my anxiety about having my blood pressure, when I go and have my blood pressure done in January, I will also make sure that the pharmacists are ordered in the TB vaccination so that I can go and have that last final shot. I mean, I hope they still do it for adults. I mean, I'm 14, right? And then I will lure Chris into going and have his normal vaccinations. God, I feel like parent of the year. Anyway, so that is my anxiety today. And do you know, guys, actually, the problem that I'm having with this month of anxiety is that the meds actually are really working. So I'm feeling a whole lot less anxious. In fact, yesterday, I not only went to see Pepper, who isn't really anxious during the week. I really hate going to Pepper on a Friday because on a Friday, my neighborhood and a lot of my friends who live in the neighborhood are Jewish. So on Friday, Pepper's salon is absolutely crammed full with neighborhood ladies who are having a wash and blow dry for their, you know, they get nicely done for Shabbat on a Friday night. So it's absolutely crammed with people who want an update. So I really try and avoid going to Pepper on Fridays. But apart from that, he's not an anxiety place. So it was lovely. And he made me look like Queen Latifah. And I was feeling so brave afterwards that I even took the car for a wash. So I really feel like actually I'm feeling a whole lot better. You know, even when I was having the car washed, I didn't, but I thought, you know, I could even actually go into like the forecourt station here and get myself a coffee. I didn't, but I thought about it at least, and at least it was an option. So I'm kind of thinking these days, it's like, it's difficult to do a month of things that make you anxious when my anxiety levels are actually pretty much as low as I can ever remember them being. So tomorrow, probably instead of talking about anxiety, I'm going to talk about why Shannon is a really, really rubbish therapy patient. So I'm sure I've told you this before. Our psychiatrist, so Chris has psychiatry sessions on his own, but Shannon and I have them together. I don't know why. Maybe Marco thought my anxiety came from Shannon, and his obsessively tidy stationery drawer. I'm going to post a picture of his stationery drawer. Like, Marco thinks I'm the one with obsessive compulsions. He has not seen Shannon's stationery drawer. Anyway, we have the sessions together, Shannon and I. But as Marco puts it, Shannon does not have access to a large emotional vocabulary. Actually, well, I'm going to tell you all about it tomorrow, but actually Shannon and I go to these sessions before, and our psychiatrist, that's what I was telling you before I massively went off course there, he trained first as a therapist and then went back to med school afterwards to become a psychiatrist. So it's really cool, I think, because you get therapy, but at the end you get a script. So I really like it because obviously I get to talk about me, and then Shannon doesn't say anything, so I get to talk to me about me for an hour, and that is my favorite subject, obviously. Anyway, so tomorrow I think I might tell you all about Shannon's failure as a therapy patient. Like, he's terrible, awful. I'll tell you about it, and I'll also show you a picture of his stationery drawer. It's terrible. Well, it's not. It's obsessive. Anyway, like, share, comment. Subscribe on YouTube. I will put the link in the comments. As you know, that's how I measure my self-worth. And don't forget, please, if you are not on the mailing list, please go to my website, pennycastlewriter.com, sign up for the mailing list. I cannot tell you what it is because it's a secret that I am burning to tell you. But coming up in the next week or so, there are some really, really, really cool things happening. Like really cool. And I really want you to be a part of that, but you can only really be a part of it if you're on the mailing list. So please, if you are just on the page, sign up for the mailing list so that you can get the cool stuff too. And I will see you tomorrow in my new non-anxious state. Bye-bye.